You're listening to Inclusive AF with Jackye Clayton and Katie Van Horn.
Welcome to the Inclusive AF podcast. This is Katie.
And this is Jackye.
And today is, what are we? We're 2 weeks out, right?
We are, yes.
And we are basically a month and a half out until January 20th. And so therefore, how are we feeling, Jackye?
End of days. We're celebrating the end of days.
Yeah, we're celebrating the end of days. We're celebrating the end. Well, no, we're celebrating joining the Handmaid's Tale Club.
Yes.
Although I think both of us are in trouble. We're going to just have to be like, I didn't watch that series and I didn't read the book. Let me be very clear. But I feel like we're going to be more like the grandmothers because there's no babies.
No, that's not happening. And they wouldn't want them.
No. I'm a good aunt.
I don't remember what happened to the old people. I don't know. I'm scared. I'm a little nervous about it. I have been listening to Dua Lipa's Don't Start Now song on loop.
Okay, I like it.
For everyone who wants me to do anything other than take care of mine in ours.
Yes.
I'm like, no.
Right. There's no time for that.
This is the post-election pre-apocalypse podcast.
Oh my God. Yeah, I just have some thoughts. So here's what I'm worried about the most right now.
Okay.
And then I'm going to say what I'm excited about because I think we can't.
Let's go before that. Let's talk about, because we were in different places. We usually are online together, having cocktails, like going through all the feels together. And this year, our whole posse was spread all apart. So let's talk about that. November 5th, election happening.
So I was in Houston and I was with a bunch of folks from all over the globe. So I had folks from Germany, from Russia, from Poland, truly from all over EMEA, and then also obviously folks from Texas. And it was very interesting because, you know, the folks from Europe wanted to ask a lot of questions. And the folks from the US, I think all of us are so burnt that it was very hard to even talk about. And we're still we're hopeful. We're thinking this is going to work out okay. We're thinking Kamala's going to win. But yet it was like, I can't talk about it because it's been constant. I am very happy about the no more text messages.
Yes. Because my phone, I'm still getting my phone was getting blown up 4 or 5 times a day.
100%.
Out of control.
And it was more than 4 or 5 times, Jackye. I assure you it was at least 10 to 15 because if I'm getting them, you're getting them too, because it was the same folks. But yeah.
It was more than 4 times a day.
Yeah.
But we already voted and we were still like, I know all the people, I have all the signs.
Right. Yeah. Well, and that's what I was kind of cracking up about was I'm like, I thought like the deal was once you voted and they recorded it that you were off the list. Not so at all. But I did get less, but still a good 10 per day.
Yeah.
Text messages, calls, whatever. And I'm like, I'm already done. This decision has already been made on my end. But so that was like the night of, and then, you know, when I started to see that Trump was winning some of these swings, I just went to bed because I was like, I can't even wrap my head around this right now, that this is where we are.
So yeah, I can appreciate that. So Todd and I were in Manchester, England, and exhausted. We were supposed to be there the day before, but got caught in Canada. I mean, if I tell it to you, you won't believe me. It's just a comedy. Just the fact that me and Todd in an airport with no food in New York for 3 hours was pretty funny. Being on hold with American Express for like an hour was kind of funny. But when we got to Manchester, didn't turn the TV on. We were exhausted because we were walking for hours trying to find our hotel after getting off the train. And we were walking in circles, a little exhausted because we were not expecting, we planned it right, just didn't turn out right. And as soon as we got to the hotel, we're just excited that we had the hotel. And we get into the elevator, and someone said to us, I don't know how they knew we're from America, but as soon as we got on and said hello, said, well, I'm glad you're here and not there to experience whatever's going to happen, which then got it really real.
Yeah.
And I had to speak that night. And so I fell asleep. It wasn't on every channel because I wasn't at home. And then when I saw Donald Trump had won, I literally just sat there crying all day. I didn't even move. I was in the bed and I was on the day before time. My body wasn't ready. And as soon as I thought like I could manage, like maybe I should, and everybody should know, like poor Todd was like, you have to eat something, and then went through England trying to find Jackie's comfort food, which was like chicken wings, like a burger with American cheese on it. Like he was just like, so he was like, these people don't even have chicken fingers. Like everyone has chicken fingers.
No. Fish and chips? Yes.
Where's
Chicken
the
fingers?
Clayton
No. Yeah.
menu? He was like, But then I went to the event, and right when I walked in, people were very generous, and they were like, if you don't feel like doing this today, you don't have to. No one would fault you for it. And I was like, no, because they have like a professional photographer at all of these events. And so I want to make sure that I'm making the most of these opportunities. And I think it's fair to speak. And I felt good because everybody wasn't going through the shared trauma like we were at home. And it was like, people were buying me drinks.
Yeah. I will tell you, I had to go straight into meetings on Wednesday morning and
yes.
and also be the everything's going to be okay person because of my role. And all I did pretty much all day was reach out to folks that I knew are in marginalized groups, say, are you okay? Is there anything, I'm here if you need to talk. I'm around. It just is, it's very, very difficult to be on when you're also, and I know you get this, like to be on when you're also processing. But I will tell you a little bit of a fun story, and this is not to throw anyone under the bus that's in my company. We had a lunch that day with some of our team members, and my team is awesome, and I love them dearly. One of the young men on the team who is a cisgendered male, white, all the things of you're not going to have an impact, started talking at the lunch about how upset he was. And this is in front of folks that are in marginalized groups that we know will be impacted by this presidency. And it those like, please stop talking now, like, please. And, I have two women on my team who literally just pulled out their phones and started like playing on their phone because I think they were like, I can't even deal with this or talk about this or have anyone. They didn't want to join in on the conversation at all. And I think it was just because they are processing it. But it was one of those things where it was, please stop talking. This is not about you at all, sir. And you're not going to be impacted or hurting or anything else because of this. But
I think that's the truth. I mean, Todd at some point was like, also, I'm not the enemy, me, myself, and I. Like,
100%.
But he understood I think it was devastating for him, and in a lot of families it's devastating when it's always devastating when people are hurting and there's nothing you can do, and there's nothing you can say because you don't even know, like we're not even clear on what is, what it is moving forward. I just know, like, um, I am very worried and concerned, not just about like my job, but worried about people.
Yes.
Like, I'm worried about what's going to happen, and how people are feeling and processing, and how that's going to manifest itself. If it
Yes.
manifests itself in sickness or illness or bad behavior, or, risky behavior, because those things all happen
Right.
when things are out of control. People start looking at the things that they can control, and sometimes need a different feeling.
Right. And I think this is where, I know we were joking before we started recording. You have to just kind of focus on you and yours,
Right.
and not think about all the rest of this, because it's just going to make you crazy.
I
Um,
can't. I reassessing like where I put my volunteer hours, and how much of myself I'm willing to give to anyone that isn't, in my close circle
right.
or family. It doesn't mean that it will change my work behavior, my podcasting behavior. It doesn't
No.
mean, but I have to make sure that there's a direct benefit to, you know, that I understand the impact of what I'm doing, and make sure that it has the impact on the right group, or the people that need it the most, that don't have the support. That's all.
Right. Right. Well, and it is like, um, what do we do, and how do we think about this? And like you said, do you put your time and energy, and what, this is where that whole circle of influence, circle of control concept comes into play too, is, we know there's going to be some horrific things that are
Right.
coming down the pipeline, and it's what can you control? Um, the part that I find interesting, and I don't know if you've seen any of this, but the part I find, I guess, interesting is the word, I don't know if that's the right word, scary, is how many people now are saying, well, I wouldn't have voted him had I known
Yeah.
this.
Shut the fuck up. Oh, sorry. That's what my response is to them, not to you, and to you if you believe that sentence.
Yes. Well, we don't cuss on this podcast, Jackye, unless
I mean,
or is that part of the New World Order? New World Order is,
yeah, I fully think that's New World Order. I think we fully cuss. I think we changed the rules because
okay. I
we're
like
going to
it.
need cuss words in the next 4 years.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. So FYI, folks that are listening,
Too much pressure.
Jackye and I are going to start cussing a lot on this podcast. That doesn't mean stop listening. You're going to still really enjoy every moment of cussing.
Yes.
But yeah, those are the ones that are very fascinating to me, though, because I am like, how did you not? And it's not even a how did you not know, because they knew.
Right.
But like, did they know that, JFK Jr. was going to be in charge of Health and Human Services?
They should have known. Trump said that. And I mean, we're all going to have like unpasteurized milk and no fluoride.
These are the things I like. What?
Like, that's what I get worried. Like, I mean, I don't think people understand that this brofist can literally go in and be like, oh, insurance is not going to cover, vaccines or something stupid.
100%.
I mean,
Well,
he's
his,
not going
his
to be
whole
able
thing
to
is,
pass anything, but he could be the one who starts that legislation. And we already know when people get confused, they just withdraw when they're scared, and it impacts their bottom line. They withdraw. And then, like, someone was like, posted, and just like, I hope that it's not that extreme. They were like, oh, here comes measles again. Like,
well, no, he literally said he doesn't want to, he wants to cut off funding for all research around cancer, diabetes, like some of the major illnesses, because he wants to see, like, what do we have already that's working or not working? And so it's like, wait, what?
wants
So
to know. He wants to figure it out. Like, I think
yes.
that science already supports that.
Right.
Like,
But his logic is if you eat good food, that fixes everything in your body.
can I tell you about good food? Okay, so here comes
If you even go down the path of that there was good food in the UK, I am ending this
girl,
podcast immediately because
listen to
fish and
no.
chips, one
First,
cannot live on fish and chips and
one
shepherd's pie.
cannot live on fish and chips. But also, we went to Jimmy's killer shrimp, and they gave the shrimp with which was like deveined and butterflied, but still full shell eyeballs and crawlies, and a bucket with like plastic gloves, and it's like based in South Africa. And people don't know this about me. I don't, I'm like a peanut butter jelly girl. Like I'm not, like I don't. My food tastes are very limited. Like my
Right.
sister asked me what this is the scariest thing that I would eat, and I was like, a medium burger, like terrified. Like that's a mushroom. Like I'm not trying to get all crazy, and it had the heads on, and they were hot as anything, and they give you plastic gloves and a bib. So I'm sitting with a bib. I'm going to put the picture in the show notes. Ripping
Okay.
the head off in this coconut sauce. And Todd was like, do you need me to help you? And I'm like, oh no, oh no. Like everybody in this restaurant is just ripping heads off and throwing it in this bucket. And while it was delicious,
Not your
it
jam.
a lot of bravery to do that for me.
I'm going to say this. I think that if you went to hang out with our friend Robin and Douglas in Baton Rouge, you'd be ripping some heads off some shrimps.
Yeah, I
I'm just
know.
saying because that is like that's a thing.
You're
And
supposed to do that. And with the cry, people get all, and I was just like,
but no,
no, no.
no.
I did pleasantly get I will say, I had great Indian food in the UK.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yes, for sure. But yeah, the food in the UK is not my favorite. Now, please, anyone that's in the UK, please don't be mad at us. We still love you. Don't worry. I'm not being a hater. It's just not my favorite.
Yeah, I
Um,
think that was the Declaration of Independence. They're like, we're just not eating this shit anymore.
we're not eating fish and chips and shepherd's pie every day. Yeah.
We're out. I was shocked. It was so funny. Again, we had Sunday roast, with um Yorkshire pudding and the whole bit. And I ate as much as I can. And the lady came over to the table and she was like, do you need more gravy? And I was like, oh Lord Jesus, no. Nope, that's not why this food is here. Nope.
No,
Nope. I
no.
mean, delicious, but I was like, more gravy, girl.
Well, and that's the other part. I feel like we are so, I have the opposite because I'm in Texas, or I, was in Texas with folks
Oh,
from all over the world.
right.
And they were cracking up because they're like, how does anyone finish their food? Like,
It's so much food.
it's so much food. And I'm like, no, you don't. You don't finish the food. You do not. You don't try because it's just
It is
no.
so much food in Texas. It's ridiculous. Like,
I
really,
know.
who's eating that third taco? Why are there three taco plates with the beans and the rice and the everything and the chips and the salt? Like you can't, like
No.
somebody at a Mexican restaurant wants to eat
You
third
can,
taco.
you
Oh,
shouldn't. RFK said you shouldn't.
like
Oof. I
did
can't.
people eat the local? I understand that not everybody is into Texas food either. There are some questionable food for outsiders, fried okra being one of
Yeah.
them, fried
Yeah.
steak with gravy, big toast and gravy, steak fingers. But how did we mess up French fries so badly in this country? Like, I don't know what they doing in Britain, but they get those potatoes done right, my
The
friend.
chips are right. Yes. Yeah.
Like everywhere, people are like, and then they say, would you like mayonnaise? No,
Oh,
no. And Todd, it was like, this is near ketchup. like we were eating something. He was like, I think it's ketchup. No.
No,
But that
it's not.
was, I never got a British breakfast. I really wanted a British breakfast. And so
Oh, really? You didn't have a proper breakfast at all?
being so late. And every time we'd order it, they'd be like, ma'am, it's 1 p.m. I'm like, oh, because I just woke up.
Because I
So
just woke up. Sorry.
yeah.
Um,
Um,
okay. So
but
can we talk a little bit about HR right now?
yes, this one. Okay. So this, yes. So while one of the things that I did, I was there for the what's equivalent to SHRM in the UK. It's CIPD personnel, something like the world's oldest, they came out in like 10, 80 or something. So I went to that
To do HR certifications.
Yeah, people with yeah, Moses had one. And
Oh my God. Okay.
so well, if you think about it, that's probably where it started. He was like, how am I,
Probably
am
where
I
it started. Yeah.
like,
He was like, you know what we need? You know what we need? We
I
really
can't
need
manage all these
like
animals on my own. Please help me.
take care of some
So I
things.
went to that. What was exciting from my perspective, because we just got over, we know about the election. They're still trying to get this stuff right. I think they did learn a lot from Brexit, and it's like, these are the people that are here. We need to make everybody feel as confident as possible. People don't want to come here. We don't have people coming and participating. Then we have to get along as a country in the resources that we have. And
Right.
also are looking at leadership development, still doing inclusion, making things for people with disabilities and accommodations that are needed, and really looking into those things. So that was promising to me, knowing that, not everybody is going to be dealing with this through the next 4 years of the, hate that we expect to come our way. And also, why haven't we figured this out yet? Like, why haven't we figured out benefits yet? Like, why are we still trying to get engagement? How do we burn out people and get them engaged at the same time? Well, why are people asking us to do that then? Like every day.
Every day. Yeah. It's funny. It's the do more with less concept, which I think is going to actually, I think it's going to ramp up if he does put in some of these tariffs, some of these other things. We're going to have a bunch of companies that are hurting, and yes, they can pass along some of that to the consumer, but I also think we're going to see more more mass layoffs, more just not good things. If we think the unemployment rate can get worse, it's going to, I have a feeling. And so I think there is how are we supposed to balance this as an HR person to make sure we keep our people safe or comfortable? I won't say happy, but comfortable in that environment.
I don't know. I mean, it is really funny how people are like, oh, we're not going to have enough money. We have to do a RIF. Also, I'm concerned about engagement. Like, we've already talked about, we know it's going to start happening right now, because we've talked about this every year since we've done this podcast about doing all of this before Halloween, because once you get past Halloween, it's people they just approach things differently. Their heart is different. They're like, feelings are coming into play. They're thinking of their families and building relationships and, being grateful and thankful. I think that's going to be hard. And also, like, what is our responsibility as HR professionals moving into, like, it's just, that's the part that makes me so mad. I don't care what anyone says. With Donald Trump in office, we are going to have mental health concerns. People are crying about, my mom is going to get sent back to the country because her husband is undocumented, and if he goes, she'll go. Like, there are things that, like, we're seeing across the board. And how are we going to manage mental health and be in support where we're not, like, afraid to talk to Surrey because the FBI is going to come arrest us because we talk, like, say real things that are going on in the United States. Like, I just don't.
I don't talk to Siri. I talk to Alexa, so I'm fine.
Oh yeah.
Because Jeff Bezos is going to keep everything just fine. Everything's fine.
Right. Him and his henchmen will send a fucking robot to fire you and take you away from the country.
For reals. But I also, you just mentioned Sherm. I also want to see what happens to Johnny C. Taylor
Oh,
with,
he welcomed the president right on up at the very
I
beginning.
know, I know. And his, I don't care
The
about
board
diversity.
before.
I don't care about diversity. I care about inclusion.
Right.
I don't know if you've seen any of the commercials. They're riveting. For those of you who have not seen any of the commercials, I double dog dare you. Um,
Thrilling, especially because they're in the middle of a lawsuit right now for discrimination.
right.
So it's cute.
It is. Absolutely. And so
The only word
that's,
for it.
you're talking about the leading, kind of certification group in the UK, and yet we have in the US one that is under fire for discriminatory behaviors. So it's working out
Right.
well. It's working out well for us in the US.
I
Everything's
mean,
coming up roses.
I don't, it can't. And like I said, well, we were kidding about things earlier, like before anybody comes at me for anything, like I want references or I'm just not dealing with you. Like I'm not like before I even waste any energy, like we need to see if this is something that we can negotiate or work together on. And I think there's certain things where it's like, I'm just not even dealing with that right now today,
No, no.
you
And
know?
I am going to say this, and I'm not going to speak for you, but I feel like you and I are on the same page in this regard. I do feel like there is um, how do we actually think about the rest of kind of our lives and how we think about our lives and how we think about our work and how we think about all of these pieces in this rapidly disintegrating environment? How can we, start to really focus on ourselves
Right.
and what we can control, but also, to your point in your example on my mom's going to be deported or, my mom is going to be going wherever. It's also thinking about who in our lives are going to be impacted in a certain way.
Right.
Um, I've already been, seeing on TikTok things about lavender marriages coming back in where, you know, uh, uh, someone who's in the LGBTQ community marries someone just to have a beard and, just to have someone that is going to keep them safe. I have a feeling that that might become a thing again, which, hasn't been since the 70s. But I think there's a lot of different pieces to this that
People,
is how do we
no,
keep people safe?
I was like, so a couple, a friend of ours in Waco, and I use our example in Waco. Oh, sorry.
Bless you. Bless you.
Oh, thank you. Only using Waco. Waco's a really small town. I do appreciate my small town. I know that there's a lot of conservative beliefs, and there's a couple who we're really close to, friends with. Um, two men, they're our same age. They've been married for a long time. They've got 4 kids, one that's like 5, and the oldest is like 18 that they adopted. And they were posting on uh Facebook about the rules that you need to make sure that are in place in case anybody gets hurt in insurance and stuff like that. And someone was like, "Oh, I hope nothing happens. Like, we love you so much." Bitch, like, shut up. Like, literally, I'm flying through the screen. Like, no, you don't love us so much because you helped make this happen. Like,
Right.
people don't understand what people are saying. I don't understand how people can read on stuff online but can't click one extra piece
No.
because it's the reason behind it is not enough. Worried about the economy is just not enough. We're all worried about the economy. We all want to have jobs. We've been living in that scary world for the last 4 years. It's going to get worse before it gets better based on I mean, we don't even need doctors anymore.
Right.
Like, I mean, or teachers for that matter,
No.
not just teachers or
No.
school bus drivers or,
None of it.
and the thing is, the only thing that makes it, it makes it even worse for the next person because Trump will not allow everybody to fail and make up when everybody's like homeless and has no jobs and unemployed, then he'll just give money that didn't exist. He'll just print more,
Right.
and sign every check. I can't.
I can't.
I just like, and the thing that is really interesting, so we saw the Book of Mormon musical in the West End in London,
Isn't it hilarious?
which, yeah, so I've seen it in Broadway. And so,
Okay. Okay.
to be clear, I knew what I was getting into,
Good.
but I was like, oh, they're not laughing with this. Like, this is laughing at us, because they also do the full play in an American accent. And I forgot that we weren't in America when they were like, oh, this is, when Jesus went to America, like crossed the Middle East and came to, Buffalo, New York. It was just like, it just sounded dumber and dumber as we went along. And I had mentioned we were laughing about the water being around in 1571. And they were like, oh, because your country didn't exist until 1776. And there's so many things that people don't know. I always say I am just an American with a public school education. So, and I didn't go to college. So take that for what it's worth. But
Right.
as we're sitting in Cambridge, in England, with all of these schools, and John Harvard, we're going by like where John Harvard was in like 280. And they're talking about, did you know he came over on the Mayflower? And when he died, he donated his money and books to start Harvard College, like in Cambridge. And I'm like, I'm like, wait 1 second. Why do we act like we invented all of this stuff and don't even look at the background? Like, we don't understand. We were not taught. I'm like, we're taught Texas history. We're not taught history.
No.
I don't understand. My friend who went to college in Colorado said she had to take 4 Colorado history classes, like as part of her degree program, but had no idea about like what was going on in the whole rest of the world. We just get little snippets, and it's relative.
Well, freshman year, you have world history, which basically talks about as my Father Foster, the teacher of my freshman world history class, who is now no longer with us, God bless his soul, Father Foster Hanley said it wasn't holy, it wasn't Roman, and it wasn't an empire in regards to the Holy Roman Empire. Now, that being good Catholic school education there, right there, people.
That's quality. I'm
I
glad
remember.
we're getting vouchers. Woo!
Yes. But you went literally from the Roman Empire to American history. Like in
Right.
most of the historical context
That's
is
all I remember.
right. But like prior to Jesus entering the picture. Again, Catholic school. So,
Y'all didn't. Oh,
yeah.
got it. Okay.
But I also like, you don't hear about how some of these historical invasions, like, the British Empire going in, invading all of these countries and taking over and doing horrific things in these different countries. And that's the part that's also fascinating, is that when they try to colonize all of these countries, and then you jump to, again, 1776 and, nothing prior to that. And it's like, wait, what happened between those two events?
It is hilarious. I also feel like, and it was hilarious to think about, we're raised on the King James Bible, and it was like, you don't see a lot of religion in the UK because they like actually served under King James.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
They have family members, like you can look it up and figure out, like, yeah, not real bright, not real good, self-serving,
Right.
Trumpist.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, so why we don't acknowledge what's dumb to me is we know the story that we did get because we're about to have Thanksgiving and coming over to Plymouth Rock, which again includes John Harvard, like father of, who got like dysentery and died because
Right.
this wasn't made for you. And also, so we know it's like it starts there, but we never talk about, and I know there's a book somewhere, we never talk about the stuff that we literally stole from what did exist. Like we always act like we're so independent and wild and crazy. No, we're not. Like, why do we still have Cambridge, Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey, like all of these different we're not original.
No, no, we are not. Well,
This is Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears shit. Like this is like legit. Oops, I did it again.
yeah.
Like,
But I also would say even like Portland, Maine, Portland, Oregon.
right,
Penny
right.
has a lot to say about this.
Oh, that I get it. But like it was also like the subway and then taking like the underground and then the overground. How about that? And we're like, wait, we can go wait. So I can go anywhere in the whole country. The lady that I met in, so I was on business meetings and doing speaking engagements. And so when we were in Cambridge, we took one of those hop along buses because people of a certain age, that just is very thrilling. Let's take the double decker bus that's in every country. You learn all the propaganda in one sitting, very comfortable, you know, headphones, whatever. And we're going through all of it. And she was like, oh, the public transportation here is so bad. And I'm like, really? Because we took it to get here. And where I live, it doesn't even say bus stop.
No.
Like,
right. There are no sidewalks. There are no, right. Yeah.
and it doesn't like, you can't just take a bus or take a subway or a above ground train from here to New Jersey or from here to El Paso, even going to Austin, it's not like every 40 minutes people are going to Austin. Like you might miss your opportunity.
Yeah. And I think also Texas is the longest drive ever. I forgot how long it is to
I'm
drive
so
across
sorry.
Texas.
So we
Yeah.
should tell everybody the stupidness. I mean, we act like we're really smart, but
So I was in Houston for the election, as I mentioned. Prior to that, I went to Dallas and then to Waco, you know, Jackye City. And I didn't see Jackye while I was in Waco. I did see the silos. I did meet Jimmy Don, so the metal worker. I did meet him and got a picture with him. So for those of you who are Chip and Joanna Gaines followers, Jimmy Don is the metal worker that does a lot of their signage, all that stuff. I did buy a sign from him, but no Jackye.
And the week before, I was in Phoenix and didn't see Katee.
And
I
no
was
Katie. Yeah.
I thought you were going to end up coming, and it was like I had to do back to back and write an article. I was like, oh God, I can't do any of these things, and then didn't see Katee in
No.
Phoenix.
Yeah.
So
So we're batting 1,000 over here, folks.
yeah.
All I wanted was a hug.
If you don't know, Google that. It means we're not doing very good.
We're not, oh yeah, sorry. For those of you outside the US, we're not doing well. Yeah, it was kind of a comedy of errors, um, but I did go get some good shopping in while I was in Waco randomly.
And to be fair, Todd had COVID, so we almost didn't make it.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Yes. So yeah, to be clear, it wasn't that Jackye didn't want to hang out with me or that I didn't want to hang out with Jackye in Phoenix. I did drive to the resort that she was staying at, but the friend that I was meeting did not respond back, not Jackye, one of our other friends. And so I walked around the resort, couldn't find anyone and left. But
Listen, I was laughing at LinkedIn. It was a great conference, but I laughed because it was at the Biltmore, like the John Lloyd Wright,
Frank Lloyd Wright,
like Frank Griffin Wright, wrong. That guy.
FLW.
Great, you know, architect and these fine, and they just slapped a LinkedIn logo on it. They didn't care about it at all. Like we've literally researched that before. We have puzzles of his artwork at home, and I was so excited and thrilled. And then you turn around, I couldn't even take a picture to show Todd because all of it
was
was
covered.
and stuff.
Stupid swag. Yeah, it's actually a gorgeous hotel. resort.
I'll be going back.
And he has stuff that he has built throughout all of Arizona.
Wonderful.
And to go and see some of his stuff is amazing. But yeah, it was a sad week that I didn't get to see Jackye and didn't get to see our other friends. But then also driving across Texas, it might be the longest drive ever, even if it's like an hour, because there's nothing. It's just flat and there's nothing.
There's nothing. You got to see. I tell people, look, there's nothing between Dallas and Waco, and there's nothing between Waco and Austin. There's nothing between Waco and Houston. You just are driving, and you, as soon as you think I can't drive one more inch, you'll see a sign that says Houston an hour away, and it seems so close at that point. But no.
You won't see that, but you will see a sign that says Buc-ee's.
Yes.
All the Buc-ee's. There's 72 Buc-ee's in between Dallas and Houston by way of Waco. Just in
Any
case.
beaver nuggets?
I did, and I brought some the sour cherries back.
Yes.
That's my favorite thing. They're actually still in my backpack because, you know, even though I've been home for 2 weeks, I haven't unpacked that.
Right.
But Jackye,
Yo.
is one thing you want to make sure that folks think about in the coming months. What's your, I won't say light at the end of the tunnel, but what's your hope?
I just want people to know that you aren't alone. There are other people. You're not wrong for your feelings, and that there's other people feeling that. So I just build your community right now. There is community out there. I know sometimes it can feel alone, maybe within your family or your community that you're normally hang out, but there are some like-minded people. And so it's okay to feel those feelings and also adjust to make sure that you and yours are taken care of. Like, just make sure that you don't feel bad for having those thoughts and feelings. That's what I want people to know.
I love that. Mine is really more the stick to the people that are your people.
Yeah.
And find those people. If you don't have them, find them. But also stay safe.
Katie's like, trust no one. I trust absolutely no one.
Trust no one. Get your arsenal together. No, I'm just kidding. End
It
of
is
time.
in
Like,
the
go
conversation.
watch Red Dawn and then prepare yourself because that's what's happening next, folks. Yeah. No, I think if we can all focus on keeping your people closer
Yeah.
and making sure they're okay, I think that's going to be our biggest relief. And prepping for the holidays, because next week it's Thanksgiving, folks.
Oh my God.
And if you haven't listened to our Thanksgiving special from many, many moons ago, Jackye and I will give you some really good recipes in that episode so you can look back on the recipes and how amazing her saltine
Ritz, do not get it.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Ritz cracker cheese
Broccoli casserole.
broccoli casserole.
So good. It is so good.
Maybe I'll just whip that out for Thanksgiving this year and see what my family does. They're gonna lose their minds and be like, what is happening here? This is not on our regular menu.
Right. Right.
We have rules. I don't know. I'm sure everyone does on Thanksgiving. It's you do not vary. You don't try to make something fancy. You stick to regular mashed potatoes.
On game day, that's what I'm like. Do not change game day.
No, you cannot do that. By the way, are the kids coming home for Thanksgiving?
The kids are coming home, and my college best friend is David Elliott has adopted us every Thanksgiving, so he will be here.
Nice.
And yeah, are you having it at your house?
I'm hosting this year. My brother he's going to actually smoke. I think he said 2 or 3 turkey breasts. I'll probably make a turkey as well, just because there's going to be 95 of us here. And then we've kind of divvied up the rest of the things amongst all of our siblings. So I'll have 6 of my siblings here and all of their families. So, which will be.
I come for tamales this year?
Ooh, I don't know if we're doing tamales this year, but if so, yes, you absolutely can. I will ask Sochi if we're doing tamales this year. I will find out. And we'll go from there. If we do it, you're absolutely invited. Now, I might not be there because I might be in Germany, but absolutely you're invited. You
Don't
can
make
just,
it weird.
you can hang out at just stay at my house with the dogs. Everything will be fine. We don't need to see each other. You can see the dogs.
Okay.
That's who you care about.
That's all I care about anyway.
Yeah,
I need
exactly. The baby dogs. All
That's
right, folks. Thank you for listening. I know we were kind of all over the place on this episode, but I think that's par for the course of where everyone is right now, is that we're kind of feeling all over the place. But thank you for listening. This is Katee Van Horn.
And this is Jackye Clayton.
Bye.
Bye.